Hello and welcome everybody. This is Mahmudul Hassan, the SAT Math Tutor. In this video, I'll walk you through Module 1 of SAT Math Practice Test 4 from the official College Board SAT practice test. I'll solve each question step by step, explaining my thought process and the best strategies to get the right answers quickly and accurately. I'll also show you some of the Desmos hacks along the way. So let's start. So in this paper version of the practice test, we'll have 27 questions in Module 1. So this is problem number 1. A group of students voted on 5 after-school activities. The bar graph shows the number of students who voted for each of the 5 activities. How many students choose activity 3? So if you look at activity 3, we can see that this is hitting somewhere here between 35 and 40. So it can be option A, it can be option C or D. The right answer is option number B, which is 39. Let's look at problem number 2. What percentage of 300 is 75? So what percentage is basically an unknown term. So just take X percentage of 300 is 75. So X percentage can be written as X over 100. Of means times 300 is equal to 75. We can cancel out these zeros. We have 3X is equal to 75. Divide both sides by 3. We get X is equal to 75 divided by 3 is 25. And that is option number A. Let's look at problem number 3. What is the solution to the given equation? We have x squared over 25 is equal to 36. So simply we can get rid of this 25 by multiplying 25 on both sides. We have x squared is equal to 36 times 25. That is 900. Take square root on both sides. We have x is equal to 30, and that is option number B. Number 4, 3 more than 8 times a number x is equal to 83. Which equation represents this situation? So we have 3 more than means add 8 times the number x is 8x is equal to 83. Now if we match with the given options, we see that it cannot be option A, it cannot be option B either, it cannot be option C. The only option that we have is option D. So we have 8x plus 3, which is same as 3 plus 8x. This is commutative property of addition. So you can just rearrange the order of 3 and 8x. Therefore, the correct option is option D. Perfect. Now let's move on to problem number 5. Hannah deposited a fixed amount into her bank account each month. The function f of t is equal to 100 plus 25t gives the amount in dollars in Hannah's bank account after t monthly deposits. What is the best interpretation of 25 in this context? So remember that this function is in the linear pattern, which is y is equal to mx plus b, and this is given as y is equal to b plus mx. So this m is basically this 25, and m is the slope, which is same as the rate. So if you read each of these options, we need to see where it explains the context of rate. So if you read the option 1, with each monthly deposit, the amount in Hannah's bank account increased by 25. Option B says before Hannah made any monthly deposits, the amount in her bank account was 25. That is referring to the initial amount, but we see that the initial amount is 100, so it cannot be option B. Option C says after one monthly deposit, the amount in Hannah's bank account was 25. So if you put T to be 1, it's 100 plus 25 times 1, that is 125. It cannot be option C. Option D says Hannah made a total of 25 monthly deposits. That's also incorrect. So the correct option is option A. With each monthly deposit, the amount in Hannah's bank account increased by 25, and that is the rate, because rate is the increase of amount with respect to the variable. So if T is the monthly deposits, 25 is the amount by which these monthly deposits are increasing. Perfect. Now let's move on to problem number 6. A customer spent $27 to purchase oranges at $3 per pound. How many pounds of oranges did the customer purchase? So we can see that 27 is the amount of dollars, or the amount of spending, and the number of pounds times the rate per pound. So this per pound and number of pounds will just cancel each other out. We get the rate. So $27, the number of pounds is my x, times the rate per pound is 3. So we have 3x is equal to 27. Divide both sides by 3. We get x to be equal to 9. So the customer purchased 9 pounds of oranges. Let's look at problem number 7. Nasir bought 9 storage bins that were each the same price. He used a coupon for $63 off the entire purchase. The cost for the entire purchase after using the coupon was $27. What was the original price in dollars for one storage bin? So before using the coupon, the total price was $63 plus $27, and that is $90 because we got a discount of $63. So now Nasir bought 9 storage bins. So each bin is 90 divided by 9, which is $10. And that's our answer. Now let's look at problem number 8. For the linear function f, the table shows 3 values of x and their corresponding values of f of x. Which equation defines f of x? So we know that this is a linear function. So the linear function pattern is y is equal to mx plus b, or f of x is equal to mx plus b. Now I know that with x is equal to 0, my y-intercept is 29. So b is 29. Therefore, it cannot be option B and it cannot be option D. So it can be either option A or C. Now I need to find the slope. So to find the slope, we can use y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So we can just take these 2 points. We have 35 minus 32 divided by 2 minus 1. We are getting 3 over 1. So it will be option number A. M is 3 and B is 29. Perfect. Now let's move on to problem number 9. Right triangles PQR and STU are similar, where P corresponds to S. If the measure of angle Q is 18 degrees, what is the measure of angle S? So we know that this angle Q is 18 degrees. Therefore, T is also 18 degrees. And to find this angle, we can subtract 18 from 90. We are getting 72 degrees. Therefore, this angle S is also 72 degrees. And that is option number B. Perfect. Now let's move on to problem number 10. The scatter plot shows the relationship between two variables x and y. Which of the following equations is the most appropriate linear model for the data shown? So we know that this is a linear model, so that can be modeled with the form of y is equal to mx plus b. And if we see that this b is almost close to 10, therefore it cannot be option A or option B because b is 0.9. So it can be option C or D, so which is 9.4. Now we see that this is a downward trending graph. If you go to the right, the graph is going down. So the slope is negative. Therefore, it has to be option number D. This slope is negative 0.9. Therefore, we can use these two analogies to find the correct equation. Perfect. Now let's look at problem number 11. The given equation describes the relationship between the number of birds, B, and the number of reptiles, R, that can be cared for at a pet care business on a given day. If the business cares for 16 reptiles on a given day, how many birds can it care for on this day? So we have the equation 2.5b plus 5r. R is now 16 is equal to 80. So 5 times 16 is 80. So 2.5b plus 80 is equal to 80. So we can cancel out this 80. So we have 2.5b is equal to 0. If we divide both sides by 2.5, we are getting b to be equal to 0. That's option number A. Let's look at problem number 12. What is an equation of the graph shown? So again, we see that the graph is a linear line. So this is y is equal to mx plus b. We see that the graph is touching the y-axis at -8. So our b is -8. So all of these options have a y-intercept of -8, but the graph is downward trending as we go to the right. So it has a negative slope. It can be option C or it can be option A. So it cannot be D or B. So now let's try to find the slope. We can use these 2 points, -8, 0 or 0, -8. So if we try to find M, -8 minus 0 divided by 0 minus -8, we have -8 divided by +8, we are getting -1. So it will be option number C. Problem number 13. If x over 8 is equal to 5, what is the value of 8 over x? So we have x over 8 is equal to 5. We need to find the reciprocal of this x over 8. So we want to get the value of 8 over x. So let's see how we can do that. To get 8 over x, I can simply take the reciprocal. So I know that this 5 has a denominator of 1. So if I switch this x and 8, it's 8 over x. So this 5 over 1 will be 1 over 5. That's our answer. Now let's look at problem number 14. The solution to the given system of equations is x comma y. What is the value of y? So we see that this is a system of equations. We can simply use Desmos to solve this problem. So the first equation is 24x plus y is equal to 48. And the second equation is 6x plus y is equal to 72. So we can see that the graph is meeting at negative 1.33333, comma 80. The y value is 80. That's our answer. So our y is 80. Now let's look at problem number 15. Line T in the xy plane has a slope of negative 1/3 and passes through the point 9, comma 10. Which equation defines line T? So we know that this line can be modeled using y is equal to mx plus b. Now this m is equal to negative 1/3. So we have y is equal to negative 1/3 x plus b. Now we can plug in this point. So we know that y is 10 and this x is 9. So we have 10 is equal to negative 1/3 times 9 is negative 3 plus b. So add 3 to both sides. We get b is equal to 13. So this is option number D. We have b equivalent to 13 and m to be negative 1/3. Perfect. Now let's look at problem number 16. The function f of x is equal to 206 times 1.034 to the power of x models the value in dollars of a certain bank account by the end of each year from 1957 through 1972, where x is the number of years after where x is the number of years after 1957. Which of the following is the best interpretation of f of 5 is approximately equal to 243? So remember, f of 5 means x is equal to 5, and this x is equal to 5 means 5 years after 1957. So add 5 with 1957, that is 1962. So we need to see where we have the year 1962. By looking clearly, we can see that we have 1962 here. So the value of the bank is estimated to be approximately $243 in 1962. That is the correct option for this statement. Perfect. Now let's move on to problem number 17. For a certain rectangular region, the ratio of its length to its width is 35 to 10. So length over width is 35 over 10. If the width of the rectangular region increases by 7 units, how must the length change to maintain this ratio? So I want to update my width. So the width would be increasing by 7. So that would be 17 now. We need to see how much would be the new length. So we have x on the top. So now do cross multiplication and see what you get. So 10 times x is 10x. 35 times 17 is 595. So divide both sides by 10. We get x is equal to 59.5. So the final length is 59.5. That means it must increase by 24.5 units. That's option number B. Perfect. Now let's look at problem number 18. Square P has a side length of x inches. Square Q has a perimeter that is 176 inches greater than the perimeter of square P. The function f gives the area of square Q in square inches. Which of the following defines f? Now, if you look at this perimeter of square P, we see that we have a side length of x inches. So the perimeter is x plus x plus x plus x, which is 4x, and area is this side length is square, x square. Now, if you go to square Q, the square Q has a perimeter that is 176 inches greater than the perimeter of square P. So this perimeter is this 4x plus 176. That's the perimeter of square Q. Now, if you want to find the side length of this Q, I need to divide this perimeter by 4 because all these 4 side lengths are same. So if I divide this by 4, I get the individual side length over here. So that is 4x divided by 4 plus 176 divided by 4. I'm getting x plus 44. That's my side length. Now to get the area, I need to do side length square. X plus 44 square. That is f of x is equal to x plus 44 square. That's option number A. Perfect. Now let's move on to problem number 19. The given equation relates the distinct positive real numbers w, x, and y. Which equation correctly expresses w in terms of x and y? So we see that we have 14x divided by 7y is equal to 2 times square root of w plus 19. So to get rid of these 2, I can simply divide both sides by 2 because this is multiplied with square root of w plus 19. So I'm getting rid of these 2 and I need to divide by 2 on this left side. Now we see that 2 times 7 is 14. So 14 and these two numbers will just cancel out. We have x over y is equal to square root of w plus 19. Now I can get rid of this square root by simply taking square to both sides. So we have x over y whole square is equal to w plus 19. Now subtract 19 from both sides. We are getting w is equal to x over y whole square minus 19. That's option number C. Perfect. Now let's look at problem number 20. Point O is the center of a circle. So anytime you come across any geometric problem, try to make a visualized diagram. So we have a circle and this is the center, which is O, and the measure of arc RS is 100 degrees. So the measure of arc RS on this circle is 100 degrees. So let's say this is R and this is S. So this measure is 100 degrees. Now if you try to connect, we are getting this RO and SO to be the radius of the circle. So it says what is the measure in degrees of its associated angle ROS. So we need to find this angle. Now we know that this ROS is the central angle. And the central angle is equal to the angle of the arc extended by these two radius. So this central angle is also equal to 100 degrees. Perfect. Now let's look at problem number 21. The expression 6 times 5th root of 3 to the power of 5 times x to the power of 45 times 8th root of 2 to the power of 8 times x is equivalent to a times x to the power of b, where a and b are positive constants and x is greater than 1. What is the value of a plus b? So to solve this problem, we can apply the exponent property. So we can write this 5th root and 8th root in an exponent form. So we have 6 times 3 to the power of 5 times x to the power of 45 to the power of 1 over 5 times 2 to the power of 8 times x to the power of 1 to the power of 1 over 8. Now we can distribute this outside exponent. So 6 times 3 to the power of 1 times x to the power of 9. So 5 times 1 over 5 is 1. 45 times 1 over 5 is 9. Times 2 to the power of 8 times 1 over 8 is 1. And 1 times 1 over 8 is 1 over 8. So we can simply multiply these numbers. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 times 2 is 36. And add this 9 and 1 over 8. That is 9 whole 1 over 8, which is 73 over 8. So x to the power of 73 over 8. So my a is 36. My b is 73 over 8. The problem is asking to find a plus b. So 36 plus 73 over 8. If you can use Desmos, you will get 36 times 8 is 288 over 8 plus 73 over 8. So we are getting 3. So we are getting 361 over 8. That's our answer. Perfect. Now let's move on to problem number 22. A right triangle has sides of length 2 root 2, 6 root 2, and square root of 80 units. What is the area of the triangle? Now remember, if you have a right triangle, This is 2 root 2, this is 6 root 2, and this is square root of 80. Now this is 90. So if we know that the angle is 90, we can use area, which is 1/2 times base times height. Now the base is 2 root 2 and the height is 6 root 2. These two will just cancel out. Root 2 times root 2 is just 2. 6 times 2 is 12. That's our answer. Perfect. Now let's look at problem number 23. The expression for x squared plus bx minus 45, where b is a constant, can be rewritten as hx plus k times x plus j, where h, k, and j are integer constants. Which of the following must be an integer? Now, if we apply the distributive property, we see that hx times x is hx squared, hx times j is hjx, k times x is kx, k times j is kj. Now, if you compare, we have 4x squared plus bx minus 45. So this h is 4, which is an integer. Now, if you compare this, we see that we have b is equal to 8j plus k. Now, 8j plus k, h times j plus k, that b is also going to be an integer. Now, if we do k times j, this kj is equal to negative 45. Now, if we divide this side by k, we are getting j is equal to negative 45 over k. So we know that this j is an integer. So, and this negative 45 over k, that is also an integer. Now, if we just change this sign to be positive, that's also an integer. So this is option number D. This is basically same as negative j. So if j is an integer, negative j is also an integer. Now, if we look at these other options, we don't know whether b is divisible by h. So that's not correct. We don't know whether b is divisible by k. So that's also incorrect. So 45 divided by h is same as 45 divided by 4. That's not an integer either. So option D is the best option or the correct option. Perfect. Now let's move on to problem number 24. So the problem number 24 says, in the given system of equations, A is a constant. The graphs of the equations in the given system intersect at exactly one point, x, y, in the xy plane. What is the value of x? So let's see if we can use Desmos over here. So we have 2x squared minus 21x plus 64. And the second equation is 3x plus a. So if you add the slider, they need to meet at exactly 1 point. So if we use negative 8, it's exactly a single point right here, which is 6, 10. So they meet at a single point, which is 6, 10. So now we see that x is 6 and y is 10. The problem is asking what is the value of x. That is option number C. Perfect. Now let's move on to problem number 25. An isosceles right triangle has a hypotenuse of length 58 inches. What is the perimeter in inches of this triangle? So we know that this right triangle has 90 degrees. So that means the other two angles must be 45 and 45. So this is a special right triangle. So that is x, x, and x times square root of 2. We know that this hypotenuse is 58 inches. So x times square root of 2 is 58. I need to solve for the perimeter. So first solve for x. The x is 58 divided by square root of 2. So I can rationalize the denominator. And I'm getting 58 divided by 2 times square root of 2. That is 29 square root of 2. So x is 29 square root of 2. This x is also 29 square root of 2. So if we find the perimeter, 29 square root of 2 plus 29 square root of 2 plus 58. So 29 plus 29 is 58 square root of 2 plus 58. And that is option number C. Perfect. Now let's move on to problem number 26. In the xy plane, a parabola has vertex 9, negative 14 and intersects the x-axis at 2 points. If the equation of the parabola is written in the form y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are constants, which of the following could be the value of a plus b plus c? Now, this kind of problem can be approached in many different ways. Let's see one of the best approaches to solve this problem pretty quickly. So whenever we know that we have a vertex, we can write the vertex form first. So y is equal to a times x minus h whole square plus k. So I can write this as y is equal to a times x minus 9 whole square minus 14. Now I can apply the distributive property. I'm getting y is equal to a times x square minus 18x plus 81 minus 14. So I have y is equal to ax square minus 18ax plus 81a minus 14. So if I compare this with y is equal to ax square plus bx plus c, I see that a is equal to a, b is equal to negative 18a, and c is equal to 81a minus 14. So I need to find a plus b plus c. So that is a plus b is now negative 18a, and c is 81a minus 14. So that is 64a minus 14. So this 64a minus 14 is equal to a plus b plus c. And this 64a minus 14 could be either negative 23, could be either negative 19, could be either negative 14, or could be either negative 12. Now we have to check the other condition, which is we know that this graph is intersecting the x-axis at 2 points, which means b squared minus 4ac should be greater than 0. So now we need to check this condition. So let's see how we can check this condition over here. If b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, now at this point we can quickly use Desmos to fast forward the process. So let's see how we can use the Desmos over here. So now let's see how we can use the Desmos over here. So we know that a is equal to a, b is equal to negative 18a, and c is equal to 81a minus 14. So the sum of a plus b plus c is 64a minus 14 is equal to negative 23. So our graph is y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So depending on a, b, and c, we need to get the values of the graph. Now, we know that the graph should meet the x-axis at 2 points. Now, if you check this first condition, 64a minus 14 is equal to negative 23. Now, to find the value of a, I'll simply use x. So if you use x, this is negative 0.14063. That's what I'll just put over here. Now you can see that this is the graph that I'm getting. So it cannot be option A. It cannot be negative 23 because the graph is not touching the x-axis at 2 points. If you check negative 19, that's giving me negative 0.07813. So I'll just put it right here. That's not an option either because it's not touching the x-axis at 2 points. We'll check the next option, that is negative 14. So that's coming out to be 0. If we put 0 here, we are getting a flat line. That's not an option either. So it should be option D, which is negative 12. And for negative 12, I'm getting 0.01325. If we use that, we see that the graph is touching the x-axis at 2 points. That's our option. So it should be option number D. Perfect. Now let's move on to problem number 27. Function f is defined by f of x is equal to negative a to the power of x plus b, where a and b are constants. In the xy plane, the graph of y is equal to f of x minus 15 has a y-intercept at 0, negative 99 over 7. The product of a and b is 65 over 7. What is the value of a? So we see that we can write this first equation, a times b is 65 over 7. And for the second equation, we know that f of x is equal to negative a to the power of x plus b. So for this scenario, y is equal to f of x minus 15. The y-intercept is 0, negative 99 over 7. So this f of x is negative a to the power of x plus b, and y is equal to negative a to the power of x plus b minus 15. So that's my new function. So for this new function, The y-intercept is negative 99 over 7, so negative 99 over 7 for the y. And for x is 0, so this is negative a to the power of 0 plus b minus 15. From here, we can solve b. So we know that anything to the power of 0 is 1. So negative 99 over 7 is equal to negative 1 plus b minus 15. We are getting negative 99 over 7 is equal to b minus 16. So add 16 to both sides. If you use Desmos, we can get this answer 13 over 7. So that's my b. Now I can plug this over here. A times b is 13 over 7 is equal to 65 over 7. 7 will just cancel out. Divide both sides by 13. A is equal to 5. So that's my answer. A is equal to 5. Perfect. I hope this makes sense. If you have any questions, let me know. And that's how we have solved all of these problems on the paper version of the SAT exam. Let me know how you would approach one of these problems differently, and would love to know your feedback. I'll see you on the next video. Now, let's get to study.